Do you know why Dean Smith didn't win multiple or more national championships? I think Dean Smith won 2. Okay. Why do you guys think? You know what he said? I recruit people with the same personalities as me. Makes it easier for me to coach. So that means if you have a guy who may be a guy like Allen Iverson or somebody like that, you don't want to coach Allen Iverson? Well, that's a coaching flaw. I think coaches have to coach all types of personalities because you pigeonhole yourself into a certain type of player. I think you have to coach all personalities. Tough ones, easy ones. That's what made Jimmy great. You had Troy Aikman, you had Emmitt Smith, and you had Michael Irvin. 3 completely different personalities. Okay? 3 completely. Prince, do you believe, Prince, that Jalen Hurts is an elite passer from the pocket? Yes or no? Prince, do you think he is? Watch this, folks. Prince, do you think Hurts is an elite passer from the pocket? Do you believe that? Do you believe that he's an elite passer? Can't wait to see this. Do you think he's an elite passer? I just say, Reyes, do you think that he is an elite passer from the pocket? Okay. I don't know. 7 years in, and I don't know. My man, Big Sills, get it as numb. He's a doty. He is without a doubt the biggest home job I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy, babies, NJ Fishing Maniac, you're my boy. Babies wear bibs. This guy's got a bib that says Eagles on it. You got to make sure you don't drip anything on your chest. You got to have a bib. It says Howie and it says Nick. It has Jalen. And it's got Eagles there. It's like a bib. And this guy, every time he comes to the show, he comes to the show with a bib on. Getting shit on my chest. I'm getting eagled on my chest. I got to get an eagle off my chest. Hold on here. Got to get an eagle off my chest. Yeah. What are you, Jason Kelsey? Stop moaning and crying. So let me finish the point here on. Dean Smith. Guys, you got to coach everybody. So here, this is the point that I was making with Prince. Right? Jalen. Nick. Saquon. I can't get enough of that, man. All good there, Junior. Dan, name all 3 elite passers from the pocket today. All right. Good call. Let's see who I think is really good from the pocket. Let's see here. Let's go. Pocket passers who are really good from the pocket. Let's see here. Who I think are really good in the NFL from the pocket. Stafford, Goff, Dak, Lawrence. Shit, Darnold's good from the pocket. Caleb is not. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Love, Rodgers. Pass over Hurts. Geno's decent from the pocket. Lamar is at times. Tyler Shook is decent from the pocket. Mac Jones and Purdy are great from the pocket. Burrow. Those guys are all good from the pocket. All good from the pocket in today's NFL. Yes. I mean, yes. By the way, I guarantee you, with this new changing, they'd rather have Dak Prescott as a quarterback than Hurts. Stafford, Goff, Dak, Herbert, Burrow, Purdy, all good from the pocket. Those are good selections. Cousins is good from the pocket. Hey, Jacoby Brissett had a better year than Jalen did. What would have been a better way forward for the team after Patullo was fired? I would have kept Kevin Patullo. I would have brought him back. Why don't you try developing a coordinator one day? How about trying that? Instead of using them as a scapegoats, why don't you try developing people? Isn't it funny the Eagles don't develop coaches? The only place they develop them is on defense. Nobody in a million years. You got everybody's leftovers. Name me one guy people were coveting that you hired. Can you? Who, that fucking O-line coach that got blown out in Minnesota? That DB coach you just hired? We're like, how many days? What was the last day of the league? Hey, Kyle, how many days since the last game of the season? What was the date of the last game of the regular season? Anybody know? Anybody know what the last date was? You guys hired everyone's leftovers. There's not one dude you hired where everybody was coveting. Well, let me hire Sean Mannion. There's no way that guy was on anybody's list. Hey, let me ask you this. How about this? Do you think Sean Mannion would have got a job as an offensive coordinator if the Eagles didn't hire him? Yes or no? December 11th wasn't the last game. They played on Christmas. Okay, January 4th. Let me see here. January 4th. How many days has it been since January 4th? Okay, it's been 40 days since the last regular season game in the NFL. Okay, January 4th. And in 40 days, the Philadelphia Eagles have hired this staff on offense. Does anybody think that Sean Mannion would have been hired as an offensive coordinator if the Eagles didn't? The answer is no. Do you think Chris Cooper would have been hired as an offensive line coach if the Eagles didn't hire him? The answer is no. These are the last dudes left. I don't really think they even knew Stoutland was leaving. There's not one guy on that staff anybody was going, I got to have that guy. You know the only guy maybe they hired? Maybe Josh Grizzard. Maybe Grizzard would have been like the only dude. You didn't hire anybody wanted. Like who? If they would have went into this season with the same offensive coordinator, you would have had jumped all over the Eagles for that. No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have. Not if you're not going to change anything. Now, since you're going to change things, okay, you're going to start passing the ball more? Kevin Patullo doesn't make sense. But if you were going to run the ball and run it back, he made sense. Why not keep continuity? You think there's any reason, Angelo, that the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you think constant change is good? I don't. Get this, guys. Not one coach you hired so far was wanted by any coaching staff. Not one guy. To tell you something? Not one dude. It was 40 days. All the jobs have been filled. Every single job has been. When you named Sean Mannion as offensive coordinator, there was like one job left, and it was the Browns, and it was the Raiders. They weren't hiring him. One guy. When the Eagles hired Andy Reid, everybody made fun of the hire too. Andy Reid worked with Mike Holmgren as the quarterback coach in Green Bay for 7 years. And he had worked with Favre. And he was working, I think when he was there, I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers was drafted out of Cal yet. I'm not sure of that. Okay, Angelo. So what? You think fucking Sean Mannion is going to be the next Andy Reid? Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Why, the Eagles are different. They will change on you in a second. Just win. There's a point in me that doesn't hate that. Okay? There's a part of me that, okay, I'll tell you what. Who wanted Sirianni as a head coach? RC3. All of your offensive coaches were not wanted by anybody that you just hired. It was 40 days after the fact. I get one guy could be like, okay, all of them? Like, they just hired this guy for DB coach, Pellegrino. There were 10 job openings. How many coordinating jobs? How many jobs in the NFL were? There were like 50 job openings. Let's leave the skies falling until the guys get a full season of coaching to see if they're trash or good. Nobody's a psychic. Well, let me tell you what I do for a living here. My job, I give opinions. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a beat writer. I don't do that bullshit. I'm a talk show host, and I have been for 36 years. This is what I do for a living. And I've got 3 jobs now. I do a morning show in Tampa on radio, and I got a Sports Grid on weekends, and of course we do this show. 4 hours. This is my main show. Okay? This is my number one show. And I've been doing this for 40 years, almost. This is what I do. I'm looking at the free agent running back. It's somewhat deep. You got Williams. Yeah, there's some good people in there. The Denver Bronco guy, too. J.K. Dobbins might make a nice guy. Sirianni's a straw man it's the straw man for the front office to give the appearance of a head coach. No. Here's the definition for me and Nick Sirianni. Shit, man, when things are going good, Nick gets credit for winning. When shit goes bad, Nick gets credit for losing. Okay, well, guess what? He gets no credit for fixing it. You think he's fixing this? Oh, you know what? I think he is, actually. I think the front office, this looks like Nick. Because I would push back and go like this. If I was somebody in that front office, I would do this. Okay. So the Eagles under Nick Sirianni have been in the playoffs every fucking year. They have a 6-4 record in the postseason. They've been to 2 Super Bowls and they've won 1. And we're changing. Why? Okay. I feel this offense has gone as far as it can go. Isn't that code for I think this quarterback has gone as far as he can go? You're missing the point, guys. They're telling you this is as far as they think the quarterback can go. How many people believe that take? That they believe this is as far as the quarterback can go. Right here. Because if you're changing everything, the last thing to change is the quarterback, isn't it? It's not the fucking coach. You're changing everything away from the quarterback skill. Am I wrong? Everything he does well. I'm telling you, I think the team is telling you right now that Jalen Hurts is taking this team as far as he can go. He's going into year 7. I said this was a 9-year deal. This was not going to be any more than that. This guy's not going to be a starting quarterback in 9 years. Here in Philly, 2 more years? No way. No way. No way. Absolutely. Trade Hurts. You would get the same or better production out of some guy like Malik Willis and not have to spend $50 million. Good call, because I just saw it in the Super Bowl. You don't need a $50 million quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Okay? Sills, maybe the front office still consolidating power by not getting big-name influential coaches. They rely on talent, nurturing coaches to get the job done. Chip Kelly scared the front office. Could be. That's not a terrible take, Jimbo. Awful take? Yeah, because it doesn't fit your narrative that your quarterback is taking the team as far as it can go. Get this. At the end of the day, a lot of people aren't going to like that take. So wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Isn't this funny, guys? Isn't this funny? The organization thinks this offense has gone as far as it can go. Well, who was the leader of the offense? Was the quarterback. So now you're going to invent the quarterback in his 7th year into somebody else? Yeah, that's right, because that always works. That's like trying to reinvent Patrick Mahomes into something he's not. Or like Matthew Stafford into a running quarterback at 37. Fucking stupid. Think about that for a minute. They changed everything out because they know that this offense can't go any further. So what you're saying to me is that the quarterback's going to evolve into something completely different. Never in a million years. Never happen. No way. What if the Eagles trade Tanner, sign Malik Willis to the backup, put pressure on Hurts? I asked the question. By the way, we made the comment. Jeremy Fowler's just not throwing shit out there like that. Here's a guy that makes a ton of sense, not the rest of these knee draggers. Stills, I do not disagree that Hurts might be tapped out, but every time things get tough, they revert back. Do you believe that this team has pushed Jalen to work through his issues? I don't think he can work through his issues. They know that, or they would have. Bob, how many times are you going to keep driving that round peg into a square hole? You tried it in 24, it failed. You tried it in 23, it failed. This team doesn't want turnovers, and every time they up his volume, he fails. Let me ask you this, Bob. Am I right when I say this? Since he's been a quarterback in Philly, when they have upped that volume, his turnovers go up higher than what we would expect. Like I said, if a guy throws the ball 600 times and he has 10 to 12 picks, you live with that because of the volume of passing. It's common sense. If you throw the ball 340 times and a guy's got 6 interceptions, okay? If a guy throws the ball 620 times and he's got 12 picks, that's normal. That's common. The volume is higher. You're expecting more tipped passes, maybe some late throws. You're going to see more turnovers. But the fumbles and the turnovers it was 32 turnovers in 21 games. Okay? Do you think that's a high number? Seals, what about the Super Bowl? He's played his best games in the playoffs and Super Bowls. Nobody said he sucks. Who said he sucked? Do I think he's got an intangible of playing in really good moments? Yeah. Can he play consistent like that? No. He never has. I saw Sam Darnold play a Jalen Hurts game on Sunday. He played a Jalen Hurts game. Didn't have to do anything crazy. Protected the football. Made some throws on third down. Ran the ball 135 yards for Kid Walker. They won a Super Bowl. They played Eagle football. They didn't do anything exceptional. I mean, what did they do exceptional? By the way, Z's going to join us at 3:30. We're going to have Mike North at 4:30, and we're going to have a guy who creates offenses. He's had numerous offensive coordinating jobs. He's been a head coach in National Football League. Mark Trestman will join us at 5:30. We're going to get his thoughts on some of the issues the Eagles are going to have moving to a new type of offense. A guy who builds offenses. You don't have to listen to me. Listen to a guy who built them for over 25 years in the NFL. He's had at least 15 coordinating jobs in pro football. You can listen to him. I'd agree with that take if they were doing everything possible to get the best out of the quarterback. Prince, you're assuming that they want to get the best out of the quarterback. They have stereotyped him. Prince, let me ask you this. But that hasn't been the case. So are they actually building around the quarterback to help him? Listen, that could be. I can't dispute that. So Prince, okay, let's go here with what he said at the beginning here. This is not shitty. I'd agree with that take if they were doing everything possible to get the best out of the quarterback. Okay. These recent hires, in your opinion, do you really believe that they're bringing in this new coaching staff to get the best out of Jalen Hurts? Or are they building a system like Michael Irvin? Prince, I don't know if you were in here when Michael was in here. Some coaches like Nick do this. He was making the comparisons between Norv Turner. I'm sure you know the name Norv Turner. And Chan Gailey. Okay? I'm telling you, Nick's more Chan Gailey. Nick Sirianni's a Chan Gailey. He's a Chan Gailey mentality. He's not a Norv Turner. Okay? Nick believes in systems. He believes in installing systems. He thinks a system like that, now that's been a trend in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan has a way that he approaches in the passing game. He's just better with quarterbacks and play calling. Norv Turner, when Michael Irvin was on here, remember what he said? Norv had me. The passing game went through me. Whenever there was a passing game, it went through me. I was always on the field on third downs. I was always in the passing game. When Norv left and they hired Chan Gailey wasn't trying to get Michael Irvin the ball. He had a system. He said there were times I was off the field on third down. Michael looked over at Jimmy, or not Jimmy, whoever the coach was at the time, after Barry. He was looking around going, what are we doing? There's a rookie on the field instead of me? That's Nick Sirianni. Nick believes in system. AJ's bitching because the passing game doesn't go through him. There's the problem. Nick's a system guy. He believes in a system. AJ wants the offense to go through him like it did before Saquon showed up. Well, Nick's got more tools to work with, so Nick's going to build a system with Barkley, Devontae, and AJ. Why do you think sometimes AJ doesn't even get a look or a target? Because Nick has a way of putting this system in, and once the player, get this, here's the difference. If the players aren't performing and they're up to level like they were in 24, Nick's system sucks. And it's going to wobble. If you got a guy having an iconic year, you're going to hang with that part of your system. You're going to run the ball like they did in 24. When Nick had to use his system in 25, it wobbled everywhere. Because you weren't getting production out of the O-line, you weren't getting production out of the running back, and you really weren't getting production out of the wideouts. I don't care what the 1,000-yard receivers look like. At the end of the day, it became so predictable. He's the worst passer in the league throwing across the middle of the field. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm going to let A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith have 1,000 yards receiving. Great. At the end of the day, I know what you're doing. Here, ask yourself this question, guys. Why in the world would you change off of an offense that you had two 1,000-yard receivers for the second time in 3 years? Ask yourself that question. And a 1,000-yard back, a back who's gained 3,000 yards in 2 years. Wide receivers that have been double-digit and triple-digit numbers, and you had two 1,000-yard wideouts. Why would you change that? Empty calories. Absolutely. The numbers lied. The passing attack was not very good. The entire offense wasn't very good. Think about that for a second. Empty calorie stats. How about this? You had two 1,000-yard receivers, and you had 1,100-yard back. And you changed the offense. Wow. If I'm a wide receiver, that's the second time in 3 years that we had dual 1,000-yard wideouts, and we're changing it. Why? Well, it was fool's gold. I mean, bro, did you forget what the offense looked like this year? No. But you guys were telling me about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being superstar players. The second time in 3 years, these guys had 1,000 yards receiving. One of the very few tandems in the NFL to have one of the very few teams that have two players with 1,000 yards. You're changing that up? Of course I know the offense sucked. And that's why they're changing it. Thousand-yard receivers, and they changed it. That's all it needs you. That's the only thing you need to know. They looked at those two guys and went, those were stupid numbers. Those were overrated. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were overrated last year, according to their eyes. That's why they're changing everything. What else would it be? Sills, yes, turnovers go up. We just watched a quarterback lead the league in turnovers and win the Super Bowl by reverting back. They never give Jalen Hurts the chance to really fail. That's why many still believe in him. Okay? That's because you got spectacular talent on your team. Dude, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are really good football players. Saquon Barkley's a really good player. And I do believe a lot in. I think Lane comes back to some type of good form where he's that Hall of Fame guy. I don't know so much for Landon. I don't believe Landon at all. 13 injuries and 13 surgeries. Cam Jurgens. I think you got a major problem interior. And Tyler Steen is a dude. I think the inside of your offensive line, you got handled every game. Every game from the beginning of the season to the Cowboys on that September 4th opening, you got handled inside. Both Cowboy games, they handled you. Every game I watched, shit, man, Chicago had 5 guys out, and they handled you. They completely handled the interior. From Steen over, and it affected Mulata's play. They just got handled. That's as bad offensive production that they played probably since 20. And you know why you won more games than you did when you won that 4-win season in 20? Because you had AJ and a great D. Hurts has a chance to grow with Manning in the offense. Based on what? What do you mean he has a chance to grow? This is year 7. Let me read the rest of this. Hurts says he wants to win at all costs. This is a chance to prove it. Okay. Time will tell. Doesn't matter all the restrictions or verbally say he has. Well, if I'm going to coach a guy, Big Red, I'm not going to coach a guy to what he doesn't do well. Inside rushing attack was miserable. This is why there were so many runs with negative production between the tackles. Yeah, they couldn't run the stretch play either because their inside play. There wasn't a game that they won up front, in my opinion, in the three-man triangle. They got handled every game. Shit, who the Giants handled you. Get this, everyone in the NFC East, except maybe Washington, handled you up front. Seals, you said it best. 24 killed the O-line. 26 will be the tell-off for Hurts, Juergens, Barkley, and Sirianni. Absolutely. Hey, and by the way, if this fails too, you know who's going to be looked at in a different way? Howie Roseman. Howie gets a 2-year reprieve here, maybe 3. But if this starts falling apart and you start seeing regression and it regresses more this year, okay, you're going to fire the coach. You're going to blame the quarterback. Then what? Okay, Howie, rebuild. What if he can't? You think he's going to do it again a third time? Okay? I think he deserves the benefit. He's done it twice. Why not a third time? John Schneider, he built it twice. You know, he came out of the Russell Wilson. He came out of the Pete Carroll. The Patriots are the only people I've ever seen build it 3 different ways. From Parcells and Bledsoe to Brady and Belichick to now Vrabel and Drake May. That's the only time I've seen something like that. So Howie's got to, I mean, hey, look, hall pass after hall pass. All right. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not blaming Howie for nothing here. Nothing. I'm not even in the room. The reason we won the Super Bowl is because of Barkley and the defense. Yes. Get this, Angelo. You think this was creative coaching? When they went, well, let's run 6 plays in 24. Right power I, right power left. Some stretch plays. Go hit your head on the goalpost, Saquon. You think that's really creative coaching? Or realizing you got your personnel? I don't think you have to be a genius to go, fuck, the guy's gaining crazy yards. You think you have to be a brilliant offensive coordinator to go, hey, it's like telling me, hey, Mike, turn and shoot. Hey, Michael Jordan, go ahead, turn and shoot. You think that's good coaching? Can't argue with success. Howie has been fantastic at the team building. 3 Super Bowl appearances in 8 years with 2 different. Absolutely. That's why what I said he gets, I mean, you'd have to wait until after 27 to see what he's doing. I mean, that's 2 years from now. After the 27th year, if this thing's not on the rack and on rails right now, you'd have to go like this. Where are you going, Howie? What are we doing? But that's nowhere near there. Dude, and stop with that bullshit about getting rid of Howie. I wrote this last topic down. The impatience of the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't think that would affect Howie? You don't think the impatience of Jeffrey Lurie would affect Howie? Man, you don't know billionaires. Especially with somebody with a characteristic of like Jeffrey Lurie. This is a trend. This guy doesn't sit around and wait. He's not a guy who's going to wait and develop people. If you're not winning now, I'm not waiting. You don't think that would affect him? It affected Andy Reid. It affected Doug Peterson. Fuck, it affected Howie. He fired him. He's already fired Howie. But he wouldn't do it again? You're out of your mind. That guy has no patience. By the way, I would say this. His impatience might be ruining your quarterback. Do you ever think of that? That his impatience, with all the quarterback changes, the offensive coaching staff changes, the way that they change out all these coaches, did you ever think that maybe his impatience is hurting Hurts' development? Or that his impatience hurt Wentz? You know, it's funny. It looks like the same shit you did to Wentz. The only difference, Hurts is mentally tougher. Hey, Bob, because you're a pretty smart guy in here. Does this look like what they did to Carson Wentz? Is this kind of what they did to Wentz? Well, Wentz is just not a tough dude. So wait a minute. Are they going to pull the same shit on Jalen they pulled on Wentz by drafting a quarterback in the second and third round to put heat on him like they did when they drafted Jalen? Jesus criminy. The history repeats itself. I mean, the guy's one of the most impatient people you could possibly talk to. No? People don't think that the patience level of the owner is not a problem. I do. I think it's a massive problem. Seals, do you think that Jalen Hurts is going to be a Hall of Famer one day? As of right now, no, I don't. It's too early. We'll see. He's trending in a great place. No, that's how you become the Steelers, crowing about being a 500 team. I don't mind the turnover. There is a positive to that, Jimbo. Okay? No, they're going to give Jalen one more year. If he does bad, then they're going to move up and draft Arch. Bro, you'd have to really suck to move. Arch is going to be the number one. If he plays good in 26, he'll be the number one player take. He'd have been the number one player taken now. They'd have took him over Fernando Mendoza. He's a more talented player. Arch Manning is a better football player than Fernando Mendoza. I think Fernando Mendoza is a third-round draft choice. Maybe a fourth. I don't see special. There's a special intangible about the kid. But I don't think that guy's a first-round talent. Arch Manning's a first-round talent. Exact way you explained it, Stout, in OC had nothing to do with winning the Super Bowl. It was in turn a shoot, run the ball, 5 different plays. Probably 2017 was the same. Yeah, you know why you won a Super Bowl in 17? Hey, Big Red, before I even came here to Philly, you know what I said about that 17 team? That I will stay to this day, and you can go back in my radio show archives, and I said this about your team in 17. The Philadelphia Eagles had the best O-line and the best D-line combination of pro football that year. And there was nobody close. You beat people up front, both sides of the ball. And there was nobody close. You could have had a pigeon throwing the ball on those teams. It didn't matter. You were killing guys at the point of attack. I mean, you were just mowing dudes over and playing lights-out defense in the front 7. It's one of the best combinations you ever seen in your life. The difference between the Eagles and other organizations is that even 11 wins is viewed as a failure. We strive for greatness in Philadelphia, nothing more, nothing less. When you strive for that, though, you have to have a patience factor, don't you think? Let me ask you this, Real. What's the most patient thing they've been patient with? It's Jalen Hurts. Knowing he has deficiencies. They're not really patient with any other player on that team. They're just not. Here, They realize, what year was Devontae Smith drafted? Could somebody tell me? What year was he drafted? 21? So in 2021, did they draft Devontae Smith number 1? Did they? I'll show you impatience. They drafted Devontae, right? 21. Okay. Thank you, Shane. What did they do the following year? Does anybody know? What did they do the following year in the draft? Anybody remember? It was 10th overall. It was basically a lottery pick, a top 10 pick. A top 10 pick at wide receiver. What they do the following year? They traded for A.J. Brown. You know what they realized? They weren't sure Devontae would be a number 1. They went back-to-back, basically, wide receivers in 2 straight drafts and drafting a dude 10th. 10th overall. And they went the following year and they used their first-round pick for AJ. What does that tell you? Is that patience? How do you know it? Devontae's not going to turn out to be Justin Jefferson? How did you know that if you gave him more high volumes? I think he's done really well being in the two-hole. I think he's carved a great name out for himself. But at the end of the day, the Eagles love labels, dude. And they stereotype guys. You're this, and you're this. And you can't do this, you can't do this. This is what I think you can do. They stereotype you. Look what they did to Milton Williams. They didn't think Milton Williams was going to get... Bro, if they had that all over again, don't let anybody fucking shit you. If they had that all over again, they'd figure out a way to try to make that work. They didn't think Milton or even Josh Sweat. Sweat had 12 sacks this year. Josh didn't play shitty. He actually elevated his game. He's just on a shitty team and a bad organization. Milton Williams was a force on that team this year. He was. Sills, Dan Logan, a better player than you in 87? I don't know who Dan Logan is. I've never heard of Dan Logan. Dan Logan? Who was he? What team did he play on? If you're saying he played on the Hurricanes, I've never heard of him. Dan Logan? Who's that? I don't know a Dan Logan, dude. Triggered? No. I've never heard of Dan Logan. He played for the Hurricanes? Well, I'll have to look that up. I don't remember him at the University of Miami. Dan Logan. Yeah, no. I believe Nick's system developed stunt Hurts' growth. This new offense will allow him to grow and be more helpful. Then why didn't Nick do it sooner? Then why didn't Nick do it sooner? Now I know Dan Morgan. Did the Patriots' easy schedule benefit Milton's play this season compared to Davis and Carter? You're saying playing against better opponents. Maybe a little. Playing against better teams. Can't deny it. What about, so wait, both of them played well? So Josh Sweat had 12 sacks and Milton played great for the Patriots. Both of them played well? Sills, I have a question. Should we be concerned that the Giants are going to be good this year? I'm excited for the Eagles and Giants. I think it's great, for both to be good. Absolutely. I think it's great when the NFC East is great. Dude, back in the day, when the NFC East, do you know the NFC East is the only football division that every team's won a Super Bowl? Shit. Every team in the East has won multiple Super Bowls. Giants, Redskins, Eagles, Cowboys. Every single team in the NFC East has won multiple Super Bowls. I mean, it's the only division of football you could say that about. The Giants are looking scary because not of talent, but because of the personnel. You know who they have to change out? They got to get rid of that shitty GM, Joe Schoen. I don't know what it is, why a guy keeps his job, but name me one thing that he's done well. What, the contract extension for Daniel Jones? Letting Barkley walk out the building? Help me out here. So wait a minute. You know when people were saying that they should have got rid of Saquon in New York? How do you think Scatterboo and Barkley would have did in New York with Jackson Dart? How do you think that would have looked? Bad or good? Then you have Malik Neighbors. So you would have had Barkley, Scatterboo, Malik Neighbors on your offense, and Jackson Dart. How do you think that would have done? How do you think that thing would have looked? Kind of, you know, I thought the idea was to put good players around everybody. Right? Whew. It's funny. We brought that comment up yesterday about Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce called, here, before I bring Z up here. It's hilarious. Basically called him soft. That he's not a very tough player. And, of course, he had to do the Michael Jackson moonwalk. Oh, David Logan was a great player with the Bucs. Reuben Davis was a great player with the Bucs. God rest David Logan. David Logan went on to be into broadcasting. I love David Logan. He was a Pro Bowl nose guard, played with Leroy Selman. He was really a good player. Yes, he was. He was with the Buccaneers. He was a nose, number 76. He was a great football player. Absolutely. I think Z has internet issues again. I'm going to bring him up here in a second here. Okay. Bob, you have great takes here. Yes, Laurie is a big issue, but how he built it twice only to rip it down because he could not or would not adapt. We don't develop talent or coaches or sustain success. All right. Let's get to our guy here. I'll tell you this, man. Philadelphia Eagles are an organization that continually gives. You got it. Next week, am I right when I say this? 9 days from now, the Eagles are going to be at the convention. Do you know what the convention is? It's the Combines. That's where you guys got A.J. Brown. You got A.J. Brown at the convention, known as the Combines. It's not just dudes in shorts, which I'm assuring that M. Reyes probably will have a great breakdown of that. Dudes in shorts. Without further ado,